Hello and welcome to Pointed Logic Tarot. Today, we're going to modify every single Seasons of the Witch Oracle deck. Let's see here. So, to explain myself, I had gotten the Yule Oracle used as a gift. And it's a series that I've always been interested in because the Wheel of the Year is kind of one of my main things. And it's a really cool series. It has some ups and downs for me because there's two different artists. I prefer the second artist. And then there's two of them, these two, that have like spells, invocations they're called, on the bottom of the cards that are kind of difficult to read with inaccurate old-timey language on them. That's not really my jam. And then these ones have key phrases on them instead of key words. So I've hesitated on getting them. But once I got this one, I modified it with coloring over the invocations and then writing keywords. Some of them from the book, some of them I came up with myself. And I enjoyed it so much that I then went on the saga of getting the rest of these because this one just came out recently and is the final one in the 8. So I do want to share, let's see, so this one I got used with a gift card. This one I bought used. This one I bought used. These three I got new from Abe Books, from one bookseller. I think this one I got used. And this one I pre-ordered. These ones were from Thrift Books. This one was from Poshmark. These ones were from Abe Books. I pre-ordered this one on Thrift Books. And this one was on Mercari used. So all told, some of these I got like for free for like $9. The new one I pre-ordered, I think it was $16. I got all of them for less than retail, which I highly recommend you do like some searching for. What are the retail for these? $25. I definitely didn't spend $25 on any of these. So anyway, wanted to walk you through the process of modifying all of them to my liking. These are in various states of being modified, because so this one's already finished. Some of these are not started. This one's finished. This one's finished. This one's started but not finished. So I'll insert some B-roll of me doing like the beltane one and maybe one other one, where what I do is color over the phrases with black Sharpie, let that dry, and then write the keywords. The first deck I did, the Yule Oracle, I used one of these paint pens, which is worked really well in another couple of decks that I've done modifications on, because it sticks to like any kind of cardstock and it really shows up nice. But it didn't show up super well on the Sharpie, just on the actual card. So I got kind of an inconsistent result with this one. And when I tried using just the paint pens, like a black paint pen, they got kind of gummy. So I thought I do want to stick with Sharpie because that worked the best to cover. And so I used a black Sharpie for that, and then I purchased a silver Sharpie to write my keywords instead. So you want a couple of Sharpies, and then you want some type of isopropyl alcohol, and then like a paper towel or a rag to wipe off mistakes if you make them. I would say I always do some kind of typo or smudge. The only one that I didn't so far was I was able to do the Beltane Oracle without a hitch. But it's always good to be able to wipe it off. And because these are glossy, the alcohol, like alcohol wipes, a little alcohol with a paper towel or a thin rag wipes everything right off easily and doesn't leave any kind of blemish or mark. Is there anything else I wanted to say? My reasoning is just that keywords work the best for me. And let's pull out the imbolc oracle. Or, excuse me, friends, because this one's finished and is seasonally appropriate. One of the nice things about this is if you do like the key phrases, but you would like keywords, is you can always just write the keywords elsewhere in the picture. If you don't want to cover up the art, this is a dedicated little spot for doing that. The key phrases are still in here. So if I want to return to what the Forged in Fire key phrase is, your strength was crafted through adversity, a mastery only you behold. I can still have that and like incorporate that if I want to. There are keywords. Some of the decks, the author only wrote one keyword, and some of the decks they wrote multiple. Some of the decks, the keywords are repeating, which I didn't really prefer and I tried to avoid. And some of them I just didn't, prefer the keyword, so I would read the little write-up and either choose something else out of here that I liked to add, or would come up with something on my own. So, as you can see, this is one of the ones with the Sharpie. The black is visible, so you can see where I blacked out the other piece. So if you don't like how that looks, that would be a no-go. But especially in the lights here, but in person too, the silver really pops. And for me, the cards just sing to me. They read so much more clearly and more easily. The reading flows better. I feel more comfortable using more cards if I wanted to use just this. But a single card plus tarot also works really well. When I was trying these, because I do want to say, like, I got these with the intention to modify them. Another reason I really look to try and, get them used, or you should do that anyway, as far as trying to, like, not get too expensive of a price. But I, if I didn't like it, didn't want to have spent all this money on decks I wouldn't use. But I tried these out after I got them without modifying them, just to see if I liked the key phrases better than the invocations, and then would only have modified Yule and Samhain. But when I was doing it that way, I would draw one card and read the phrase, and that would kind of be the only thing I would want to use it for. And I just feel like now it opens it up so much more. And some of these, the black is more visible than others, but I don't personally find it intrusive. If you wanted it to be consistent, you could like try and color in the whole entire bottom so that it was like a bar. But I didn't want to use that much ink, take that long, or I felt like there was more of a chance I would mess it up. And so you have to look at it really close to see there's that black line. But it doesn't really disrupt it for me. You have to be okay with your handwriting, because as you can tell, my handwriting isn't the tidiest, but it's not the worst. If you wanted, you could there's thinner Sharpies. I picked this one because I didn't want it to be so fine that it was hard to read, or that the blackout was really intrusive. So I chose the mid-sized marker. But yeah, so you can't feel it. It shuffles great. And here's how it looks with several. So if we were going to do a 3-card spread, we've got blackberries, groundhog, and casserole. So the titles don't do much for me. Sorry about the glare. But my keywords, I've got neglect, alertness, and alignment. So the way I would read this is I am neglecting paying attention or like being in tune, and I need to get more in alignment with that. I need to better align myself. So it just for me reads a bit faster than reading all the phrases and sort of dissecting it, or going into the guidebook and reading the keywords that are in the book, because most of these that were in the book ended up on the cards. Coming home, trust yourself, and good fortune. And some of these are more similar, and some of them, there's quite a variety of keywords, so you can go a few different directions too. So yeah, it's been really fun to use this time of year. So I thought I would do just sort of like a show what it looks like. The other thing that's nice about the Sharpies is when I use the paint pens, you have to set all of the cards out not touching each other on a table for like overnight or at least several hours to dry. Annoying. With the Sharpies, they dry very quickly, and you kind of can stack them like this. And if they bump, it's not that big of a deal because they don't smudge. And the way I do it is I gently trace. Oh no, this is gonna shake my camera. Color it in. And this is fun to do with like a show on or an audiobook or something. I'll do it when my partner is like, we're just chilling in the evening and he's gaming on the TV, and I'll sit next to him and do this. So you do that, and then you set it aside and you let it dry. I usually set it like this and then go do 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 until they're all done. And then once they're dry, you take the book and you look up. So this one is Sacred Circle. And this has keywords. It begins where it ends, go deeper, and infinite wisdom. So, I think I like go deeper, but I might want to tweak those ones. So then what I would do is look through the description. So the circle represents a never-ending journey that has no start and no end. So maybe instead of it begins where it ends, or so, I write infinity. So I would do go deeper, infinity, and revolution. Something like that. How do people feel about this card? It has all of the other ones listed, And what it's showing is a timeline. So they started down here, Samhain, Yule, Beltane, and then imbolc, litha, lammas, and then there was a gap, and then ostara. So it's like showing the length in between each of them, but it's kind of almost like a Pokemon catch 'em all. Here they're all listed now. You kind of got to go get them. If you started with this deck, you're like, oh man, look, they're all listed. I kind of don't know if I actually like this card because it almost feels like a little mini advertisement in my Oracle deck. But I didn't read the entry for this yet, so I don't want to like judge it too harshly. I think it's mostly likely the authors talking about the process of creating this whole thing and what it felt like to have such a large creative project last many years and then be completed finally. So I don't want to like judge this card too harshly, but it is kind of weird to see the decks in the deck. It's like really meta. So I think I'll do a little more rapid speed. And like I said, I have some footage of doing the keywords, and I'm going to do some blacking out on this one. And once I eventually finish all of them, which I'm getting close, I'll come back and we can sort of have a massive flip through. Is that silly? It might be kind of fun. I don't know if they'll all fit though. Here, let's do a hypothetical. So if we got eight decks. Oh, it just barely fits. But the glare is kind of brutal. I don't know if I can fix that without entirely losing all my lights because I film these in a dark basement. We shall see. Okay, anyway, that's not the part of this. Right now, what we're doing is coloring these in. I grew up doing an Easter egg tree with my family as a kid. Ostara. And so one of the keywords I'm going to put on here is nostalgia, even though that's not in the book or exactly the meaning of this card. I'll include probably some of the other keywords too, but that's something I really enjoyed about this process, is making the decks my own. So, keywords like prayer or spirits or I don't know what else. In some of the decks, I would just remove and change to be something that I prefer. Y'all, y'all, I'm I'm finally filming the final portion of this video a month later. I was so sure I was gonna put this up at the end of February because I was almost done with the mod, and then poof, life flipped over and I didn't do any videos for a month. But I have finally finished all 8 mods, and I thought I'd do a fun flip through. Excuse the lighting, please. Let me know. You obviously are watching the whole thing, so you'll be able to tell if because you can see more shadows. I had to disperse the lighting quite a bit because of the glare on these cards, because they are glossy and there's so many of them in frame that the edges are hard to avoid the gloss. So I tried my best. So we have here all 8 Seasons of the Witch decks: Imbolc, Ostara, Beltane, Litha, I think this one's called Lammas, Lunasa, Mabon, Samhain, and Yule. I call this one Lunasa because that's what I call that spoke of the wheel of the year. You could call these the equinoxes, the solstices, however you like to do it. So we're going to just do a flip through. So now I put the decks back in order. The order doesn't really matter. The concepts are just sort of, I think, alphabetical for most of the decks. But they don't, like, there's not associations of card number 1 with this deck and this deck. But I thought it would be cool, and this would be a place for you to watch a flip through of all 8 decks all at once, where you can decide, is this, 1, a mod worth doing for me? And 2, are these even decks where I like all of the art of all of them? Because clearly you don't need to purchase them all. I was a fool and did anyway. I initially wasn't going to get any of them, and then I got this one as a gift, and then found a bunch of them used, and eventually got them all, and then did this mod. This one is done with a paint pen. You'll be able to tell the difference. These ones I used the silver Sharpie, and I like it better. So I recommend, if you do this mod, black Sharpie to black out the words, silver Sharpie after it dries to write your new keywords on top. The paint pen was just a little too gummy. The paint pen, as you will see as I flip them all over here, doesn't show up as well over top of the Sharpie, but it is, I purchased the medium Sharpie, so the letters are thicker. So maybe you're like, I don't like the blocky look and would prefer a finer, either a finer marker, or I would prefer to use a paint pen to get that finer look. There's also one card in here that I erased with the alcohol wipe and redid, because I think on the video where I look at this one, I didn't like the, not the Saint Nick, what is it called? Father Christmas card. The keywords were naughty and nice, and I had put that on there and was like, I don't really like it. And Tree of Witches Tarot kindly wrote in my comments a bunch of different keyword ideas for it. So I took a couple of them and used them for that card. So I redid it, and so one of them is in Sharpie and the rest of them are in paint pen. So without further ado, let's just go through all of the decks, and we'll see how much of a mess I make as I do this. But you'll have to let me know what you think of the mod. It's kind of cool to see them all together, and you can see the 2 different artists. So 1, 2, 3 are done by Giada Rose, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are done by Tiana Lukovic. I might be remembering the names wrong. I think that's correct. Giada Rose is the first artist, and Tiana Lukovic is the second artist. All right, let's go. have it. A flip through of all 8 decks. I have a feeling that's going to be really annoying to edit. Hopefully it's not too annoying to watch. I wanted to flip through all 8 so that if anyone else plans to do a mod similar to this, they can use my keywords if they like, or you don't have to. But I am very curious if anyone plans or is considering modding a deck like this and writing keywords over top of something else they didn't prefer, or adding keywords. It's easier, I think, to add keywords, but this deck, or this series in the book, came with keywords. So for the most part, I would say 80% of the keywords on these cards are from the book. I changed actually a fair bit, which I would say like maybe 20% of them. I removed, for me personally, I removed anything that referred to God, prayer, faith, just for my personal preference. I removed anything that was divine, feminine, or masculine, because I don't think gender stereotypes are divine. I found that there were a lot of repeating keywords. Now, as you saw through the flip through, I'm sure there's a lot of keywords that repeat throughout the different decks, but I tried really hard, and I may not have succeeded, to avoid repeating keywords within the same deck. But I noticed that the authors did actually have quite a few keywords repeat even within the same deck, which I want each card to have sort of a unique meaning and theme, so I wanted to avoid repeating keywords in that sense. And I'm pretty happy with this mod. The Yule one I may eventually wipe off and redo with the Sharpie, because I do like the look of it a little bit more, but they're all readable in the light. They really pop. When you have it on the table, you don't see the blackout a ton. And I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I'm excited to use these. I used the imbolc one, and then I've been using the ostara one. Those are ones I tried to get finished right away, so that I could use them with the keywords. And I've been using this one a lot with the Children of Ostara Tarot by Zia Hunt, and it's been really pretty and fun and on theme, because it's almost the equinox as I'm filming this. So please leave any questions about the mod down below, or your opinions on this. And what did you think of the decks as you compared them across? I thought it was really interesting to compare the art and the themes. I feel like some of the decks are a little bit more distinct than others as far as theming goes. And I also noticed there's quite a bit more in the later few decks here. I would say this one, and this one, there's a lot more, and maybe this one, theming with crystals and astrology, which again, I kind of ignore the titles, although some of them are fun. And personally, I really like the 2 summer decks a lot. I like the mabon one too, but they're all really fun. And I'm excited to see what the authors and artists do in the future. I know they're planning to do a series of tarot decks, hopefully not in glossy cardstock. We'll see though. And they have a planner coming out next year that I think I might give a whirl. I will have an upcoming video soon on my updated tarot journal practice, because I finished all of the journals that I had left, as in all of the paper in my house was gone. And I bought a new journal and a new set of covers to go with it. And I'm really happy and hoping that's going to be a long-term thing. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for sticking with me as I took a pause, and hopefully I'm back for a little while. And yeah, thanks for watching. Take care.